Okay. So I'm excited for this episode. Another episode of Strong Roots, Long Branches with the Durag Scholar. I'm very excited for my guest here. This is actually the first person I had envisioned kind of having on here, like that I haven't already met. Like, so this is definitely a very special one. So this is Karim of Arise Roots, an artist from a reggae band. We're gonna jump into things. Like, we're gonna talk about a lot of things. We already were talking a little bit off air, just about like the Latino influence, the Latino reggae scene,
hmm
how big its influence is over out there, like in California, and how big part of that Rise Roots fan base is Latino. So shout out to all my Latino people, and shout out to Dream
Definitely,
RI, an artist like I was
definitely.
talking about. I just kept hearing his song Two Seed Me everywhere I went in Central America, on random boats, little restaurants way out of the way. Like, it was just insane. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
Definitely.
Um, what I kind of want to jump into though, so I want to kind of talk first, like how this
Yeah,
even, because this still blows my mind. Like, I'm so grateful for this, and like it's
yeah.
funny because it works so in line with like everything I believe in, and like everything I'm trying to
hmm
like showcase out to the world, especially about like exploring the unknown, giving life a chance to be good
hmm
to you, and allowing life to exceed like your expectations. And
Yeah.
so I was going through Instagram one night, and it was one of those, like, when you're in bed, you're like, I need to get my ass to sleep, but whatever, you're just still scrolling or whatever.
Like
I don't
every
even
night.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't even know really what the post was even about. I think it was about Allen Iverson, because I remember I had
Yeah,
seen your comment, and you
yeah,
had talked, and you said you and your boys almost got into a little thing with AI and
yeah,
his boys.
yeah,
First of all, can you?
yeah.
I want to know that story. Like, I want to hear you speak on that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so you know what it is I went to college in Hampton at Hampton University in Virginia. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where Iverson is from. And so I would see him a lot. Not a whole lot,
Word.
like I wouldn't see him like every weekend or nothing like that, but I had seen him, quite a few times, just here and there around the city or whatnot in the
Mm-hmm.
off season and just whatever. And even from where I worked at the time at the hotel that I worked at, like he would come to the hotel a lot. And
Word.
I kind of had mixed feelings about him, just because I was a fan. I was a fan of him as far as a basketball player. I thought he was an amazing, absolutely amazing athlete. But then some of the things that I
Yeah.
would see like off camera, some things that I would see like on a personal tip is kind of be like, but
Yeah.
he's kind of a this or he's kind of a that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, so my ideas of him were a little different. But so
Mm-hmm.
what happens is we were seniors, and we went to this place. It's kind of like a Dave and Buster's type of place,
Okay.
for senior week after we was about to graduate. So we're chilling at the bar, and so there's back east. I don't know if it's still like this now. I've been in California for so long now, but you can smoke inside the bars.
Okay.
So where we were sitting, it was me and maybe about three or four of my dudes that was with me, and then it was him and maybe like two or three of his dudes that was with him. So we were sitting like both of our little parties or whatever were sitting like right beside each other at the bar. And so, but mind
Crazy.
you, it's a Hampton event. So even though I'm there with three or four of my buddies, I'm still there with everybody that I'm graduating with. So even though I don't
Yeah.
know everybody that I went to school with, still I know a bunch of people around the building, around the room.
Yeah.
And so we were just sitting there, and my buddy pulls out a Black and Mild and he lights it up and he starts to smoke. And so one of AI's friends kind of tapped him on the shoulder and was like, "Hey, would you mind putting that out?" So my friend is looking at him like, "Put that out? Like,
He's not
what do you
hearing
talk?
that.
Like, it's not against the rules. Like, what are you talking about? I can smoke if I want to smoke it. That's
Yeah.
is illegal, And so he was like, he said, "What you mean? Can I put that out?" And so he continued to light it. And so he was like, "Nah, I need you to put that out because my man Iverson right here doesn't like smoke around him." Or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. He doesn't like the smell of Black and Miles around it. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And so when he said it, like we all started looking like, what? What? Like seriously? Like one, everybody smokes these things around here. Like
Yeah.
it's not even just us. Like it's not with just some random guys trying to like. Nah, it's everybody smoking somewhere around the place.
Yeah.
And so, and then he was like, but if he feels that way, then let him say it. Like, why are you telling me he's two seats down from you? So if he wants to tell us that, then let him tell us that. He doesn't have to tell you to tell us that. If we passing messages through a person in between, like this is dumb. Like he's
Yeah.
right there. If he wants to say something, he just say something to us.
Yeah.
And so words started to escalate. You know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
words started to escalate, and right when I feel like it was at that point in time where it's like, okay, it's either gonna go left and it's about to be a little rumble, or it's gonna be like squashed. And it didn't seem like it was about to be squashed.
Yeah.
And so we kind of already, kind of getting ourselves kind of in position and kind of like, kind of getting in the mindset, okay, is it really going there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so as it's going there, man, no lie, the weirdest thing happened, man. Right as it was going there, a fight broke out like maybe 15 feet away from us.
No
Boom, just
way.
like that. And at that moment, boom, it just like everything just like happened. And so right when everything happened, his guys kind of grabbed him up and they went one way, and then my guys just kind of dispersed and kind of went another way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just crazy, kind of the timing of how it happened. Like literally right at the height of that thing, it went another direction. And
Yeah.
so I always tell people that it was the fight we almost had with Allen Iverson. But I'm glad nothing actually happened, because now that I'm older and more mature or whatever, like it would have been a fight over something extremely stupid. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
dumb, and that's something that I feel like as younger guys, easily get ourselves caught up in the foolishness, where something like that would happen now. It's easily a conversation versus trying to handle it with fists. So that's my
Yeah.
Allen Iverson. So that's one of my Allen Iverson stories. I got a few of them, but that's the one
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay with right now.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's dope, man. Like, and that's so cool. Like, cause I've even heard about that like other people who like came up in that era used to say like it never used to be like a big thing. It was like you would see AI, like he'd be
You
out
see him
there
a
and this
lot,
and that.
yeah.
So it was
You see
like
him,
a lot of people have that feeling of like, yeah, obviously he's this and he's that and everything like that, but there's a personal level where people like, like I actually got to be around him and see him or whatever
yeah,
the case may be. Let
yeah.
me let me cause
Most
let me
definitely.
cause a little bit of trouble though and ask you a question.
All right,
If that scrap does go down,
yeah,
if we're being honest, this is years
yeah,
after. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Hopefully you're not, what I mean, throwing anyone under the bus or
Right,
anything like
right,
that.
right,
But
right, right.
whose squad wins that fight?
Oh, we got that. We got that all day. We got that all day. I'm only saying, I'm not saying that because I'm just so big and bad. I'm only saying
Yeah,
that because one, we already had, even in just the two immediate parties, we had one up on them as far as people, and then we
yeah,
had people all over the place. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
if it was really gonna go down, we had people all over the place.
yeah,
There's no way that we were gonna come out of there with not, you know what I mean, not on the upper end of that situation. So
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Lucky,
that's what
lucky
happened.
for lucky for AI. Then let's say
so
that.
so
Lucky.
lucky for Allen Iverson that he chilled out, and lucky that fight broke out. He's lucky. He's lucky.
I'm putting out for the record, Cream. Let your career live on, AI. I'm playing with you. If you ever were to see this, man, like you're a legend. You're a legend. But just know,
Hey, yeah, you
just know.
lucky, bro. I just want to let you know, you seeing this right now, you lucky, bro.
That's dope, man. But yeah, I mean, with stuff like that, 100%, especially being young, and I'm like a few years removed from all of that now.
Mm-hmm.
Those situations go down. It is what it is, and
It is
honestly,
what
it's one
it
of
is.
those
What it
things.
is.
Like, as much as you could like talk to younger people and everything like that, like they gotta walk that own
They
journey and
gotta walk,
mature
man.
past that.
That's
Like, it
that's
doesn't matter what the
so
OGs
true.
tell you.
It
Like,
doesn't
when somebody's
matter.
testing
It
you or
doesn't matter.
whatever, you're gonna answer
Yep.
one way. You're gonna
Yep.
answer one
Yep.
way.
That's how it goes. That's
Yeah,
how it goes. Yep.
yeah.
That's how it goes.
So yeah, so
Most
that whole
definitely.
situation, and you just like briefly shed light on it. Like you just put a couple lines on Instagram. I saw
Mm.
that and I was like, who is this guy almost finding AI? I was like, and a lot of times it'll be some 15-year-old kids and they'll just be talking. I'm like, man, those are usually my cues. I'll get up off social media. I go to the news page, somebody will claim some shit, or somebody will like be talking about like KD or saying this and that, and then I'll go
Yeah.
and I'll be like,
Yeah.
man, this
Yeah.
little
Some little
he
kid.
he ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying nothing. So I go and then I see your page and I was like, whoa, like this guy's an artist, like this guy's a regular artist or whatever. And so from there I went and I remember checking out Fade Away.
Mm.
Was the first. I normally I wouldn't even. I'll just keep it pushing. Oh, this camera keeps shutting off. I'm gonna have to keep doing this every time. Every like 10
Yeah, no
minutes or
problem.
so,
No
this thing
problem.
shuts off.
No
But
problem.
yeah, like normally I wouldn't even really check it out more than that. But I don't know, for whatever reason I ended up going to your page, seeing your stuff, and then seeing Reggae. I'm like, all right, let me check this stuff out. You know what I mean? And especially like as I'm coming into like producing my own content and whatnot, I think that put me in a
Mm-hmm.
different space where I'm more willing to put in a little bit of work to see like, am I rocking with so and so's content or not, type of thing. Whereas before
Mm-hmm.
I might just blow past or whatever type of thing.
Right. Right.
But especially seeing Reggae and knowing how much Reggae means to me and everything like that, I went to check it out. And Fade Away was the first song I came across. And man, like, swear to God, if I could show you the receipts on Spotify, I probably have over 70 plays of that song right now. Like seriously, like that song, like it was
Wow.
power. It was powerful, man. It was
Wow.
powerful. And like reggae is
Wow.
always a very spiritual experience for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Especially roots reggae,
Likewise.
it's always a very
Yeah.
spiritual experience. And then to hear what you guys were putting together and everything like that, everything from the lyrics to the melody and everything like that, and it was just,
Mm.
it just caught me at the perfect time, man. It caught me at the perfect
Wow.
time, and so
Wow.
I had probably listened to that song, and I think I listened to like a handful of others over the course of a few days, and I was just wrapping up my first podcast. Like I had already recorded it, but I was just wrapping up editing and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was teaching myself a whole bunch of stuff. I wanted to put it on YouTube. There's a whole lot of copyright issues nowadays, like putting out
Yeah, it
videos,
is.
and then there's someone makes
Yeah.
music, even if you're just using 5 seconds to,
Yeah, it's
which
crazy.
it's crazy, right? Because I
Yeah,
just
it's
there's
crazy.
just music means so much to me, and especially all these conversations we're having also mean a lot. And my mind can very easily like connect songs and connect lyrics,
Yeah.
and like
Right.
it. I
Right.
just felt like it would add like another layer to everything that I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to do, even for my own
Mm.
experience, but then for other people. And so
Yeah.
one of the things I saw on the internet, like what people recommended as like a little trend, it was like a running joke, was like you could
Mm.
always ask the artist themselves if it's okay. And honestly, like I sat and I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm always talking about exploring the unknown and this, that, the other. I was like, I'm not living up to my own belief system if I'm gonna sit here, have seen this dude's Instagram and not reach out. So I just initially reached out. I just let you know I was like rocking weird stuff, this, that, the other. I just asked for permission if I could just include a few seconds or whatever at the end of my video. And I was so happy. Like, you hit back, you gave permission. We ended up chopping some things up. And the next thing you know, this situation happened. So I'm eternally
Yeah.
grateful. And it's like,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, these are
Yeah, of
stories you
course,
can't
man.
make up, man. Like, you
Those are
can't
stories you
make
can't
these
make
things
up.
up.
Yeah, like it is. I would have never guessed. You know, what's crazy. I don't even know. I tried to go back and find that post with Allen Iverson. I couldn't even find it no more. Like I don't even know how to even go back and find where that post was. It was late
Mm-hmm.
at night for me as well. I don't even know what made me. I don't know. I can't remember what even made me even type what I typed on the thing.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how things can be connected now, and you know the power of the internet that can, and even the power of social media that can connect these dots and can connect people and can connect visions and can, you know what I mean? Like it's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing tool. It's an amazing
Mm-hmm.
tool when used correctly.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm super grateful for this. So kind of jumping into like now your stuff and your craft and everything like that. So you have your band Arise Roots and whatnot. And my first question was like, because I'm always interested in people's like coming up stories and how things happen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how did you and your band come together? Did you guys already know each other? Was it
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
seen each other? Like, what's your story there?
gotcha. So for how we came to be, we actually found each other on Craigslist.
No
And
way.
so, yeah, we found each other on Craigslist. And so I remember
Yeah.
I went in LA. There's a really big musician community on
Mm-hmm.
Craigslist. And so you can go there. You can, you got people that are looking for drummers over here, or a guitar player here. For it can either be for a gig, or it could be for like a full on band or a project or a certain album or whatever the case is. And so I was going on Craigslist one day, and I answered an ad for a band that was looking for a vocalist. And so I answered the ad. I went to the little rehearsal they was having, but when I was there, I realized that they already had the singer already, which kind of threw me off. And
Mm-hmm.
so I guess they were looking for a background singer, and so they didn't that wasn't listed in the the initial advertisement or whatever. So I'm there, and stylistically, like it wasn't. We didn't line up completely. So I was just kind of sitting there, just kind of digging the vibe. But at the same time, even though it wasn't necessarily my style, the musicianship was dope, and the players that were there were dope, and they were they were on it, and they were killing it. So that vibe was dope. So I was like, okay, man, like this it definitely gives me, even though this might not be the project that I'm gonna end up going with, this definitely gives me the motivation to go out there and really like find some people to work with.
Yeah.
So I left that situation, and a couple of weeks later, the drummer got a hold of me, and he was saying like, "Hey, man, I'm the drummer from the band you came out here to audition with." He said, the singer told me that you kind of passed on this project. He said, but like I'm really digging your voice. I'm really digging like what you have, what you seem to have going on. Like, maybe me and you can go and find some other guys, and then we can just do like more of a roots type thing versus what they were doing with this project. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm all down for that. And so he another guy answered the ad. So he put an ad out there for some guys that were trying to link and start jamming on some roots reggae music. And a couple of ads came in. I mean, a couple of people came through, and one guy had knew another guy from kind of in passing, and then another guy answered the ad, and we all decided to meet up at the drummer's house for a jam session. And from that original jam session that we had with the guys who answered the ad, those are pretty much the exact same guys that are in the band now. Like it's been going from that first jam session in the living room. We kind of all kind of saw that, okay, there might be something here. Like there might be something here. Like we're just kind of just jamming on random stuff, and maybe if somebody knows a cover or something, we try to play a little Bob cover here or a Burning Spear cover there or whatever the case is. But it wasn't like no one came with like, this is what we're gonna do now, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna do this. And it wasn't like that. It was very just a jam. Just let's just like just see each other, meet each other first, and see kind of see what happens. And so from there, that jam led to the next jam, and then we were without a guitarist, a lead guitarist. And so we decided to. I'm sorry, we were without a guitarist at all at that point. So we decided to audition a guitar player, and the guy who auditioned, I didn't know at the time, but he was a guy that had played guitar with a lot of like backing bands for a lot of the legends coming from Jamaica when they would come through LA. And like from the old school like ska scene to the old school early rocksteady scene to even to the roots scene, but mostly the ska and rocksteady scene. He would play with a lot of these guys. So many legends coming from Jamaica from the 60s and 70s. And so he had some issues going on with some stuff that he was dealing with. He was just kind of coming back into music. And so that's how we kind of got him right when he was kind of coming back to music, because he truthfully, I feel like he was kind of like above where we were at the time.
Yeah.
Like we were, a bunch of nobodies just jamming, and this guy that played with all kind of, played with all kind of people. But he was just, kind of getting his feet wet back, with music. And so, he was like, I'll give it a try, And so we to that same five guys, like I said, are the same, pretty much the same guys that are there now. Yeah. And then, one jam session led to the next jam session, led to the next rehearsal, led to the next rehearsal. And then we ended up, somebody asked if we wanted to do a show. Man, I was scared out of my mind to do a show. Our first show was, oh my gosh, it was maybe only about, it definitely wasn't a year, maybe about 6 months after we had gotten together. I think we did our first show or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I remember being so terrified and wondering, like, how am I going to remember all the words to these songs, and how am I going to remember all these different things, and how am I going to the point where I was thinking, like, maybe I should have like a podium or something on the stage with all the lyrics and all the things.
The lyrics and everything.
Everything, you know what I mean? All
I'm
the
gonna
changes,
just flip through this page real quick.
I'm gonna just boom, 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 flip, boom, 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 flip, you know what I mean? And so I thank God my wife talked me out of that, because I would have been terrible. But so I ended up not doing that, and just kind of just going for it, and just being like, hey, whatever happens, whatever happens, happens. Win or lose, here we go. And
Yeah.
so from that first show, led to the next show, led to the next show, led to the first little EP that we recorded. Then that led to the next album, and then led to tours, and then led to more albums and more tours, and going out the country, and like it just kept growing. It just kept
Mm-hmm.
growing from there, and it's amazing that for something that started was so small and so uneventful and so it was nothing. It was literally
Mm-hmm.
nothing when we first started. There was nothing. We didn't have any backing. We didn't have any managers. We didn't have any like money. Nothing. It was just straight
Yeah.
like us putting our money into it and us like just putting our blood, sweat, and tears into the thing.
Yeah.
And literally it just grew. It just grew from there.
That's amazing. So like even at this point, like as you're going on Craigslist, are you even thinking for yourself you're trying to make a music career, or is it this just like I just love it and I would like to, you know what I mean? Like like what's
Yeah,
your
no,
thought
it
process
was
at
it
that
was
point?
it was strictly for the love. It was
Yeah.
strictly for the love and to be able to get that to just to have the outlet. You know what I
Put
mean?
it up. Yeah.
My dad is uh, a reggae artist from Jamaica, and so he
Wow.
moved to the States back in the '70s to do music.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, music has always been it's always been a love. It's always been a passion. It's always been I feel like a part of me, like in me. But
Mm-hmm.
just where I grew up, there was never there was no local reggae live scene. You know what I mean? There was no
Yeah.
scene that you can go to and go hear guys playing reggae music. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
If there was like some big huge artist like a Ziggy or somebody coming through
Yeah.
or coming to the big city nearby, then maybe you can go see that. But as far as like you can go this weekend and go find a local reggae band to go see, it didn't exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until I moved out to California and realized that they had a musician scene and it realized they had even a reggae scene that was already kind of established and kind of going.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made me be like, wait a minute, there's actual like there's a local scene here. Like, wait a minute, if
Mm-hmm.
these guys can do it, man, I can do this. And that's what made me initially even go out to even look for the guys on Craigslist was seeing
Mm-hmm.
that there was a scene here. And so when we put the band together, we didn't necessarily have I definitely didn't see albums down the line. You know what I mean? I definitely didn't see national tours down the line. I didn't see
Mm-hmm.
our music being sold around the world down the line. I didn't really see
Mm-hmm.
those things. It was really just for the love of the music because I had it in me, and I felt like if I didn't get it out, I felt like there was like almost like a piece of me dying inside without getting that
Yes.
outlet out. You know what I mean? And
100%. I
so
feel you, man.
yeah, and so it definitely wasn't for. I didn't see any money in it. I didn't see any fame or fortune in it. It was literally like I gotta find an outlet. I gotta find some way to make this to have this music thing be a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I said, once the evolution of the band, continued to happen, it was I was kind of just along for the ride. Like, wow, just I prayed about it before I even found the guys. I remember praying about it and like God, like, I know this love that I have and this I've never really considered myself a talented person when it comes to music, but for
Mm-hmm.
whatever talent that I might have, like I was like, I know I didn't create it in myself. You know what I mean? And so if you bless me with any of these skills and any of these talents, like and you bless me with the love and the passion for it, like make there be a way that this can happen somehow. I don't know how, I don't know where, I
Yeah.
don't know what, I don't even know how to even look.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a way, like make it happen. And sure enough, like I said, the first group of guys that I linked with,
Yeah.
that project with is the same group of guys that we're now about to start recording our fourth album with. And so
That's
it's
amazing.
just amazing. Like I definitely feel like it's been a huge blessing. The whole process, the whole
Mm-hmm.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
definitely.
That's incredible, man. And like I love hearing these type of stories because this is even like what I'm trying to even do like with my own stuff, like with my blog, with my podcast, and everything like that. And it's like these are the things I've seen other people who've like reached those like heights of success and everything like that. You know what I mean? Where I saw they're coming up, and I seen that a lot of times it's
Right.
a similar story, and like
Yeah.
these are the things I'm really trying to push out to the world because so many people
Yeah.
like reject themselves for a
Mm-hmm.
million and one reasons because they think
Mm-hmm.
your situation was different. You've been doing this, what I mean. You
Right.
had all your guys. They
Right.
probably came up together.
Right.
Like, look how close they are.
Right.
This, that, the other. Like,
Right.
we
Right.
put so many assumptions out there to reject our own pursuits of whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. You know what I
Every
mean?
day.
Like, all
every
the
day.
time, right? And like even for you to go out and be, and I guess it's an established thing out there, but still, like for you to go out on Craigslist to be by
Right.
yourself, to be a vocalist, and be like, let me see what happens. Like, let me see what comes out from this. And like, in your situation, like things came out such a blessing that it seems like you didn't even have to. It seems like you didn't even come across people that are like, okay, nah, I gotta cut him. Like, I got like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Things came out
Right.
organically and
Right.
whatnot. But it's like, even if it didn't, though, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, shout out to you for like making that pursuit. You know what I mean? And like,
Mm.
that's something I want. Like everybody, like when you're hearing all of this, like look past like the people talking, look past like the stories themselves. Like think about the actual essence. Like think about the actual essence of everything. Like I talk about, I write about the people that I have coming on here and sharing their stories. It's like you don't need things to be like a perfect picture. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you also
Yeah.
have no fucking idea what the world has out there for you. Like there's no fucking
Right.
idea you could have went on
Yeah. No
Craigslist and
way.
been like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
about
No
to
way.
be.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Never.
There's no
Nah.
way.
Never. Never.
Yeah.
Never. 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 You can't. You can't wait. You can't wait for the perfect opportunity to come, because a perfect opportunity doesn't come like that. It doesn't look like a perfect opportunity where everything is set up and everything is just, you just walk, freely right into it, and there's no like, nah, it's never like that.
Yeah.
It's you have to make something happen in so many cases. But that's
Mhm.
where, a lot of it starts with just getting over yourself first. I think with anybody, I think every person is their own biggest critic, and their own biggest like hurdle that you have to get over is just yourself first, and you getting out of your own way. Because even for me, like I never sang in a band before. I never
Yeah.
sang in front of people
Wow. So
before.
so wait, hold on. So before you get into this band, I kind of cut you off at that last part. You're saying you
Mm.
didn't even sing before.
Nah, I never wrote a song before. Never.
So
I
you're
never wrote.
telling me you went on Craigslist. You're like, okay, yo, I love music. This is something I want to do. But you didn't even have like the little
I had
demo sessions by
nothing. I didn't
yourself.
have
Like,
no demos. I didn't have no book full of songs that I written. I didn't have no book full of ideas. Nothing. No song titles.
man,
No song themes. No nothing.
I
I'm
love
talking
that.
about absolutely nothing. I had nothing. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
like I've never, I've always been. I'm not a shy person when it comes to talking with somebody one on one. But as far as
Mm-hmm.
like public speaking and like public things, like I was never, man. Oh my gosh, I had the hardest time in the world.
Coming.
I had a speech class in college, and man, having to get up in front of the class and speak to the rest of it, like give a speech. Oh my gosh, like it, I start itching even thinking about it. Like I've never been the type that can get in front of a bunch of people and speak. And even now, like
Mm-hmm.
even when we're on stage now, I feel like if the music stops and I got to start speaking to people,
Yeah.
it's completely different. Like, oh shoot, like what do I don't even know what to say. Like
Yeah.
some of those fears keep coming back. But
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm saying all that to say that I didn't have any of those those natural things already there, like a natural songwriter, to the point where songs are just flowing out of me every day, and I just writing stuff down. I just got
Mm-hmm.
books and books full of poems and full of ideas. Like that, I didn't have that. I didn't have that aspect of it. I didn't have
Yeah.
the public speaking and being in front of people and being up. I didn't have that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I stutter sometimes, even when I speak, and so even the speech part of it, I didn't even have that part of it. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
the only thing that I had that I knew that I had was the passion for the music and the love
Mm-hmm.
for the music. Like those
Yeah.
two things were for me for me were completely just 100% undeniable. All the rest of
Mm-hmm.
the stuff, like the skills and the things like that, I didn't have none of that stuff to begin with. All
Yeah.
that stuff had to be learned. It was a learning process as I'm doing this thing and learning, learning how to hold a microphone, learning to even the microphone situation was tough. Like for the first, I don't even know how many months, for a long time of us playing, I would sing with my mic stand right here, and I wouldn't move from behind this mic stand. It was like my security blanket. Like it was like a crutch.
Damn.
Like I would not move from this mic. And I
Yeah.
remember one time we had a show downtown LA, and this was a hole in the wall place. Like this
Those
place
be
was
the
a,
best, man.
oh my gosh, this place was a hole in the wall. Like, where
Yeah.
are we? We didn't
Yeah.
even want to unload our gear outside. It was so rough outside. We was like, man, where are we? But I was in the middle of a song, and I had my mic and I'm doing my thing, and the mic stand snapped in half in the middle of a song. And
Yeah.
so I remember thinking like in my mom was going crazy, like, man, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What you gonna do now? You know what I mean? Like, what you gonna do now?
You're still hitting the lyrics
I'm
as
still singing, but my
yeah,
mind is going like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are
yeah,
you gonna do? And
yeah,
so I remember I put the mic stand like it was kind of folding and kind of breaking, and so I kind of put it down to the side. There wasn't a whole lot of people there at the show, so I was able to put the mic stand like right in front of the stage. It's probably the worst place in the world to put it, but I didn't
yeah,
really know any better. So I put it
yeah,
right there, and so that made me now hold the mic and kind of like move around. So now my little like 2 foot bubble range now became like 4 feet, and then from the next show it now became like 6 feet, and then from the next show, then now, man, I'm all over the stage when I like
yeah,
I'm all over the stage. And so again, it just it wasn't one of those things or one of those skills that I naturally had bringing to the table. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that, the thought of doing that terrified me at one point. And so
yeah,
to be at this point now where I've rocked stages in front of literally like droves of thousands, and that doesn't bother me now. Like it's crazy. I didn't see those things when we first started. You know,
yeah.
I didn't even really even fully know that was even out there for me. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I didn't know. You know, I didn't know. I don't think any of us
Hmm.
knew. None of us
Yeah.
knew.
And
Yeah.
that's beautiful, man. Like I honestly, like as you're speaking and saying all this stuff, like it fills my heart because it honestly feels like, God made sure I seen your comment, because like I
Mm,
couldn't have picked a better person to come up here. You know what I mean? And like that's great, because even for me, I even remember consciously thinking, like, before doing this podcast here today, like I remember I'd watch a couple of videos of you performing, and I was blown away, like, by your confidence. It's just like, man, you're just like in your element. And then I remember I had watched, actually, I guess you had done like an interview with somebody like on the stage and everything like that as well.
mm,
And even that there, I was just like, man, like, you're bringing the music, but you also articulate yourself so well. Like,
mm,
this dude's giving questions, you're giving out even better answers and everything like that. And like, I was just
mm,
taking note of all those things, and then to hear you come here and then be able to say all of that, like, that's not how shit started for you. And it's like, it's amazing, because that's honestly like all the experiences that I have with myself, with whatever,
mm,
coming up,
mm,
playing basketball and everything like that, competing. Like, I wasn't one of those guys that was like hooping from the jump or was naturally talented or
mm,
whatever the case may be.
mm.
Now doing my thing, like even like with school and whatnot, I was a terrible student in high school. Shout out to all my port credit people. Y'all know you can find me in the hallways. You can catch me falling asleep in class, or I'm skipping to hit the weight room to go harder for ball or whatever the case may be. Like, I was not a good student, and then it's now like I'm a few months away from graduating with like honors and everything like that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
that's
high
dope.
distinction. Like,
That's dope. That's
it's
dope.
amazing, but this isn't. These are all the things that my story didn't start this way. Like, I speak Spanish now, and I went backpacking, traveling, all that. I took Spanish
Mm,
because of my inability to have another language. Like, we have to know French out here. I can't tell you a word of French, man. I can't tell
mm,
you a word of French. And then I just said, fuck it. I came to university and I said, you know what? I gotta pay for courses anyways. You know what I mean? Like, let me see if I can like pick up the Spanish thing. And I had no idea I was gonna go through and end up excelling in it. I didn't know I was gonna end up backpacking and then being able to like walk to
wow.
another part of the world with it. And like,
Wow.
so as all this
Wow.
stuff kind of like comes together for me, and I'm like, it's not about me like bragging about my story by any means, but it's like I I just been shocking myself through all these years. From a
Mm,
little kid to now, I've been shocking myself in so many things, and then it's like, then it's funny because people will see me and have this like impression of me, an impression of how I've been this way and this, that, the other, and it's like
mm.
crazy because it couldn't be further from the truth. And then this is what I'm trying to do now, is like pushing it out there for people. Like, you actually don't know what you can become. Like, you have no
So
idea
true.
what you can
So
become. You don't
true.
know what experiences will completely change your life direction,
Yeah.
change your abilities, change. You could have no passion yesterday. You know what I mean? No energy, no
Hmm.
this, no inspiration, no whatever. And things can 180 on you just
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like that, things can
Yeah.
180 on you. So,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
so
so.
true.
Mm-hmm.
So true, man. So true. So
Mm-hmm.
true.
So another thing. So before we go on, there's definitely some other things I definitely want to talk about, like the cultural aspect of reggae and everything going
Yeah.
on in the American scene. But before anything, like, what are your favorite maybe I was gonna say three, but maybe five will make it easier. You let me know. But
Mm-hmm. Okay.
we'll start with three. What's your favorite three songs off your latest album?
Favorite songs. It's not that hard for me. One is Here I Am.
Mm,
Um, Another
huge
one
song.
is Follow the Leader.
Yep. Yep.
And I really love the it's not a full on song, but I really love the intro, Colors.
Man.
Those three are probably my three favorites.
Mm.
If I had to put a 4 and a 5, it would definitely be uh, If You Let Me is one that I really dig a lot, and uh, Lions in the Jungle would be my other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those songs are dope, man. All those songs are dope. For me, Colors is that's when I really came to just over the course of like the past few days and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
that it's an emotional ride, man. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's power. It's not even a full song, but it's more captivating than many songs, right? And like that's a song that came to me later and everything. But Colors is awesome. All those songs like Here I Am was like that's another. As I'm starting to get older, more mature,
Mm-hmm.
like I wasn't very emotional if a guy coming up and everything like that. Just
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
roughness and coldness and yada yada. As I'm
Yeah.
like walking
Yeah.
away from all
Yeah.
that stuff and
Right.
moving
Yeah.
different ways.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to hear
Yeah.
like the power of like your emotions in a song like that, you know what I mean? And like
Mm.
you're definitely coming from a place of like way more maturity and way more steps along that path and along that journey. But like
Mm.
hearing that, man, is like in a way it's almost like guidance, you know what I mean? Because that's ultimately
Mm.
stepping
Mm.
towards the end goal to like the full evolution of the
Right.
journey of being a man, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like it
Right.
has to involve that capacity to like really love and like be there for
Right.
somebody and everything like that. Like
Right.
those are like
Right.
to
Right.
be honest, I can speak for me. I guess everybody has a different path and whatnot, but for me, I would say that's in a sense that's like the most challenging thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the grit and the grind and hustling with this and hustling with that. Like those are the things that I don't know have kind of come more naturally for me, but like
Mm-hmm.
that one's a lot more conscious effort and lessons and learning and making mistakes and bouncing back. So here I am. It's a
Mm-hmm.
powerful one, man. It's a powerful one.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was it's crazy even how that song, I don't know if you were saw anything that I posted recently about that song, but with that song in particular, we recorded it, had a whole song recorded and done, and took it home for a couple of weeks, and I didn't like the song. I didn't like the song at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't Here I Am. It was a different song. Completely, when I say completely different style, completely different feel, everything about the song was completely different. And
Okay.
so we scratched everything. We kind of took everything off the song and put it to the side, and we just had the
Mm-hmm.
drum track. And so I took the drum track home and listened to it for a couple of days. And we had a studio session coming up where we were going to record our last group of songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so this other song that we had now kind of we're not really into, we were just going to scrap that song altogether and just say, okay, we're just going to go with 13 now instead of 14 or whatever, or 14 instead of 15 or whatever the case is. So we're
Yeah.
going to the studio the next day. And so I took that drum track home and I was like, man, the drums are good. So I don't want to let it go. And so I went and grabbed my keyboard. And so I'm playing to the drums, listen to, trying to get some different ideas. And these chords that I hit, I was feeling it. And literally
Yeah.
after hearing the chords come together, the whole song just came within like 20 minutes, the whole thing. And so I called one of my guys, like, hey, I know we only paid for this much time for the studio, but I think if we can squeeze in one more song, I think this one's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
And the one of the guys in the band who kind of handles all the financials, I was like, no, we don't have time for it. No, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
If we wanted to put another song, we should have did this like weeks ago. Like, there's no way it can work. And I'm like, well, look, I said, we already got the drums. The drums are already mixed in. The engineer already got the drums exactly like and the drums take a lot of time when you're doing engineering. So I said, the drums are already done. So truthfully, as long as everybody just goes and writes a part to it, like tonight, then tomorrow when you come to the studio, just lay your part down. It shouldn't be that much extra time.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, I don't know if we're gonna have time. You know how things go in the studio. Things are supposed to take an hour, take 3 hours, and I'm like, yeah, I get all that. I said, but I got a
Yeah.
good feeling about this song. Like I really think that this don't, that it should make it to the album. And
Mm-hmm.
so sure enough, we got there and it came together. It came together in the studio, and then we were blessed to be able to then go shoot the video for that song when we were on tour in Hawaii. And so and it everything just kind of worked. Everything worked to make that song to come together. And then even with that, like that was one of our fastest growing songs on YouTube that we've had so far as speed. I
Yeah.
think it hit it hit 500,000 within the first I can't remember how many months it was that maybe in the first like 6 or 7 months or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy, like just seeing how well it did and how just how well the song did and how I had so many people coming to me since we released the album telling me that one song is the absolute favorite in the album and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so it's crazy. Like it was this close to not even being, like not even making it to the album, just being a song. Period. Like if we hadn't
Yeah.
stripped the other stuff away, and then if that idea hadn't come right then and there, it just wouldn't have been a song at all. And
Yeah.
so it's crazy how little things like that, like when you get a feeling about something, or you get a hunch about something, like it's go with it. Don't fight yourself on something like that. When something on your side is telling you like, nah, this is I should do this, then do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I think that's important. Like I'm not an artist, but definitely, like hearing and talking to other people and like what I've heard about it is 100% like you've got to go with your spirit and like a lot of times like those for whatever reason it just ends up being a lot of times those are the songs that end up
Those are the
being
ones.
the
Yep.
biggest and being the most popular. There's actually a recent example. I can't remember off the top right now, but I literally remember it was like a well established. I can't remember. It was Jay Z PSA like public
Mm,
service announcement
mm,
was a song
mm,
exactly like that. I remember watching the video like recently, and I guess what had happened. I forget who produced the beat. I think it was like Just Blaze or whatever. But Just Blaze is
mm-hmm,
spinning the story, and he's like, he gives Jay Z this beat. The album's already like finished and whatnot. He's literally doing like press recordings or
mm,
whatever. Like he's like, I don't know exactly how it works, but I guess he's like pitching the album to the press or whatever, and
mm.
just like performing it to the press and whatnot. And apparently Jay Z's literally taking this beat, he has it in his head, and as he's performing these songs to the press, he's literally coming up with the lyrics because that's how much he was rocking with everything. And like, it's definitely behind schedule. Like he literally had to perform at Madison Square Garden. Like I think it was like 10 days or like 12 days after and whatnot. But Jay Z was persistent.
Wow.
He was insisting like,
Wow.
nah, like I'm
It's
doing
got to
this song
happen. Yeah,
regardless. It's gonna
yeah,
happen.
man.
And
It's
performed it
amazing how
like
that happens.
12 days after coming up with the lyrics on the spot, and that's one of his most iconic songs. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I'll definitely
crazy.
include the link for that video. I'm gonna make sure
Yeah,
when I post this, I'll find it.
yeah, please do so I can see it too. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's great. I
That's
literally
crazy.
just came across this like within the past like week or 2 weeks or something like that. So yeah, that's
Wow,
huge, man. That's
wow,
huge.
wow, wow.
Yeah. So one of our initial, let me get this water in real quick. I need to figure out. I need
Yeah,
as I
go
get
ahead.
better as a podcaster. I need to figure out how to be conversational and get my water intake at the same time without. I had my aunt. Shout out Marsha. My aunt was getting at me because my last podcast. She's like, "Why you keep drinking water while the woman's talking to you?" Like,
You gotta stay hydrated.
gotta stay hydrated. You guys don't want to
Gotta
hear
stay
my hoarse,
hydrated.
dehydrated voice. That won't be a vibe.
Man,
Won't be a vibe.
you gotta stay hydrated.
Hmm. So one of our initial conversations that had led up to this podcast or whatnot, um you had felt good like I reached out to you and whatnot, and you felt especially
Mm,
good to see like a black man enjoying the reggae and whatnot, and you kind of talked about your perspective, especially from the fan side. Like a lot of times like it's largely like white fans,
mm,
and I found from my experience, like especially in the American, getting into the American reggae scene and whatnot, I think really the only exception I really have is probably, I think they're called a Groundation. Like so the reggae I primarily listen to is
mm,
always been black, Caribbean, primarily
mm,
Jamaican reggae. You know what I mean? I'm listening to a
mm,
lot of stuff from way back in the days and whatnot. And getting into American reggae scene, man, I heard some powerful music, and I come and look into people up and whatnot. I was shocked to find like a lot of these guys were white, and that was
yeah.
something like I didn't even know at all like that was a thing at all. And then you kind of talked about it from the fandom side, and I'm seeing so
Yeah.
there's definitely, and we talked about the Latino
Yeah.
community is also huge into the reggae scene as well. Um, Well, specifically, what do you think it is? Like, why do you think there's so much other people in the reggae
Mm-hmm.
scene and not as much? And I don't know, like maybe my perception just isn't there. Maybe I don't know the right bands and the
Mm-hmm.
right groups, but like
Yeah, yeah,
reggae for me was always a predominantly like it was a black genre, and then where it's
right,
at now modernly, it's not. So how come you think
right.
that is? Like,
I think it's a few things. One, I believe that the rap hip hop scene has such a stronghold on the black community that it's hard for anything else to really like squeeze out anything with some real numbers. You have
yeah,
your fringe groups here and there, and you have your people who like to dabble in other things and whatnot. But for the most part, the rap, hip hop, R&B, scene, it's completely has the it's there's nothing even close to that with the black community, and
yeah,
especially when it comes to the younger demographic of the
yeah,
black community. You know what I mean? With the older crowd, you have more of an appreciation for for other things and for like say jazz or even say gospel or um, even rock. You know what I mean? For
mm-hmm.
to some degree, but anything I feel like anything under 40 is like man, that is either rap, hip hop, or R&B. Like that's it. Like it has
Yeah,
it's got, and I can't I can't knock it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's I grew up in the '90s. You know what I mean? And so for me, like the hip hop in the '90s was like that was everything to me. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that it was everything to me. Even looking at your wall in the back from the MF Doom
yeah.
to the Common album, like Water for Chocolate, which is one of my favorite albums of all
Oh, you
time,
can oh
to
yeah, you can
the Black
recognize it, eh?
Star. Oh, dude,
Yeah, you an OG
there's
for sure.
man, there's so much back there that's literally on my top list ever. That Mama's Gun from Erykah Badu is on one of my
Yes,
top lists
sir.
ever. Like Water for
Yeah,
Chocolate, the Black Star album, some of my top albums of any genre ever. You know what I
that's
mean?
an original. The
Oh,
Black
dude,
Star.
oh
You don't even
man,
know how much
that's
that meant to me to find an original in
dude,
person.
that's dope. As soon as the camera cut on, I saw it immediately.
Yeah,
Like
let
I
me
remember,
let me push
yeah.
that up. You
Oh
can
yeah.
see that. I
See,
appreciate the vinyls, man.
all of that
Yeah,
from the Talib Kweli with the Reflection Eternal and the man. There's
yeah,
so many of those things are like my personal favorites.
that's
To
wicked, man.
the kind of blue album. That's I got that beside me right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The like Water for Chocolate is the only CD that I have in my car right now is like Water for Chocolate. You know what I mean? Like
that's
it's
crazy.
so some of these things are I so when it comes to the hip hop thing, I get it. Like I get how strong it is because I'm a hip hop head myself.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I also have, being that my father was a musician, like I have other things that I've been exposed to that from an early age that really kind of kept my kept my attention in not just one area. And so when it comes
mm-hmm.
to the black community, like I feel like there could be a lot more exposure that could take place in the black community, especially with the younger demographic. Like it's just not a part of the equation.
Yeah,
And when I see other, and then even when it comes to actual like bands and musicianship, and playing instruments, like but outside of church, like I don't really see a lot of young black guys playing, or young blacks period, playing instruments outside of the church.
yeah,
Now, it's they just now you kind of compare that to a lot of my white friends that even when I was in high school and even middle school, like having these little garage bands that they used to be in. It's like it was easy. Like that was it was easy for them to not have to feel any kind of to not be cool to be in a rock band, or it was like it was the complete opposite. It was like, oh, you're in a rock band, oh, you're the
that's
coolest
what's
one in the
up.
class. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so it just that cultural dynamic is different. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? And so now when it comes to a reggae scene or a local, a reggae market in the scene where you have these bands that's band dominated, and even that's a difference between. I feel like that's historically been a big difference between like East Coast reggae and West Coast reggae, where East Coast is definitely, and from my experience, has always been very like solo artists and DJ oriented, like the
Okay.
Beanie Mans and like the Sizzlers and like
Mm-hmm.
the Capletons, you name it, versus
Mm-hmm.
like on the West Coast, like the band thing is really big on the West Coast. I think that's why California is kind of like the mecca of the American reggae scene, because so many bands are being birthed out of the, out of California.
Yeah.
But that transition now from a person who grew up playing in a band or whatever, now to just learn how to play reggae and switch over to now playing in a reggae band, is a lot. It's easy.
It's a
Transition is very
natural
easy.
transition.
It's a
Yeah.
natural transition versus coming from Jay-Z and then now like, wait a minute, now I'm about to be in this band type thing. Like so it's just it's different. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I've seen is that a lot of blacks that I see come to shows, and a lot of blacks that might hit me up on the on the internet or whatever, they'll say like, man, I never really listened to reggae, but I'm digging it. I never really
Oh,
listened to it before, and I
yeah.
never really
So
you know what I
you're
mean?
breaking earth with a lot of people. Like for a lot of
Yeah,
people, you're one of the first times that they're listening to
yeah,
reggae. That's
yeah.
dope, man.
But it's so crazy to me because when I first started the band out here, and I would tell people back east, I would tell my friends like, oh, I'm in this reggae band now, yada yada yada, and I tell them, yeah, we got two white guys and three Latinos. And they'd be like, what? Like how? What? Like what? And I was like,
Yeah.
so they always are so surprised. But then I ask them, I say, listen, when's the last time you went to a live reggae show? And they'd be like, oh, well, I've never been to one. I say, well, that's it. Like you're surprised, but you've never been involved in the live reggae scene anywhere. So like you're kind of answering your own surprise right now, because like you haven't put yourself in that world to be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like what that does is it leaves it just leaves the door open for everybody else other than blacks to now kind of fill up this scene. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing that's what's happening. And I in a perfect world, I wish I could kind of just wave a magic wand and have more blacks be a part of the scene. But hopefully they'll come sooner or later. But as far
Yeah.
as like actual like real numbers, like that, I think, man, it's, as long as we've been playing, when it comes to shows, whether it's a venue of 10 people or whether it's a venue of uh, 2,000 people, I think usually it's about maybe 1 to 5% black.
Yeah.
No matter what, you know. Um, yeah, it's usually about 1 to 5%. It's never.
No matter even where you go, type
Mm-mm.
of thing, the numbers are still the
We
same.
played all over the country. We played
Yeah.
from we played New Orleans, we played Atlanta, we played Florida, South Florida, we played
Yeah.
South Carolina, we played the South, which is historically been very black.
Black. Yeah.
But still, we've never been to a place where it's even been close to half and half. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's out of 10 years of playing.
That's crazy. And like it
Mm-hmm.
kind of does make sense because even for me, like as much as I listen to reggae a lot, and obviously you can see about like my vinyl wall and whatnot, hip hop runs deep in me. It's
Of
definitely
course.
the first genre that ever attracted me, and it is the dominant genre now that I still listen to and whatnot. Um, but yeah, like rap, hip hop, R&B, all those genres have such a foothold, like with black people,
Mm-hmm.
especially like
Yeah.
the younger ones, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, it's kind of one of those things. Like honestly, I feel like having somebody like you as like a lead vocalist of a reggae band is huge, and you may not even see the fruits of all your labor in terms of what it's doing,
Mm.
but like black people need to see other black people a lot of times to be attracted. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I can definitely see, even if you're a given black guy out in the Cali scene, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you're exposed to it more than say me being out in Toronto and everything like that. If you're seeing that space largely dominated by like white and Latino people, like you can kind of build up a sense of that's not for us, like that's for them type of thing. It's like hockey, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
ain't no black
Yeah.
guys out here. Like things are slowly starting to change, but
Slowly, Jay,
like
right?
very very
It's
slowly.
very
But like
slow. Yeah.
black guys, and there's a hockey's a hard example because there's a lot of reasons why I don't see black people in hockey. But like one of the reasons is you don't see black people in hockey because you don't see black people in hockey. Like it's literally that's definitely a part of
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah,
I definitely like I was gonna ask you your opinion, but I kind of feel like it's natural for me to jump into mine, like how I feel about it, because like when I kind of came to that realization, initially there might have been like a split second of like, hold up, like this is supposed to be ours, or like we're the ones that birthed this, that, the other, whatever the case may be. But truthfully, and like you, well, I mean, you being in a band kind of shows like your opinion even, but like I'm just grateful for the fact that first of all, reggae's had its influence to plant seeds in other cultures and in other people to the point where
yeah,
they're now looking to carry that torch. And
yeah,
honestly, like the whole essence of reggae, like the whole culture for the essence of everything about it, a lot of it is honestly like love and acceptance of yourself, acceptance of the other, acceptance of the struggle, you know what I mean, all that sort of
mhm,
stuff. And like so I'm honestly happy that it's been resonating with people from other cultures and that they're extending its legacy on. And definitely I
yeah.
would
Of
love to
course.
see a lot more black artists. And I love exposing my friends, and you know what I mean, like I'll be playing a lot of tracks over here. I'll even be playing Yellow Man, guys are two stepping out here to Yellow Man and everything like that. And like it makes me happy to see my boys, you know what I mean, starting to rock with this
Yeah,
stuff and whatnot, and
yeah,
able to like bring reggae back, right?
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. That's I'm hoping I'm waiting for the day that my people can jump back into this thing. You know what I mean? In some real numbers. And so we'll see. We shall see. I'm patiently waiting.
Yeah,
Patiently waiting. Yeah.
for sure. So one thing that was huge, especially me listening to a lot of OGs, like Capleton's another one of those OGs, and when
Mm-hmm.
I seen that you guys had done a track with the fucking OG, like that's crazy. That's crazy. And
Yeah.
I'd even seen like one of your posts, you had talked about, and this resonated with me, and it was a part of inspiration for me too. You were talking about being excited, having 500 views like on YouTube, and then like at
Mm-hmm.
that time, I guess your video had just surpassed 5 million, right? How did that even come to happen? Like, how did that collaboration come about?
Man, it's one of those things. It's one of those things again where if you don't just do something and just try to shoot your shot, then nothing will
Yeah,
happen. And
yeah,
so my we were talking about him. He was on a short list of who we really wanted to work with this particular song. And one of the guys in the band was like, you should just call him and see if they'll pick up the phone. Call him and see, call his manager, see if they'll, like, his number is listed right here. Like, just call him, see. I'm like, man, I
yeah,
can't just call Capleton and see. You know what I mean? Like, it don't work
yeah,
like that. You can't just
yeah.
call this man. And so he was like, no, I got the manager's number. I found the manager's number is listed online. So in which I've also learned that doesn't always, like, numbers don't always work and numbers aren't always accurate,
Yeah.
especially with it's just not always accurate. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. We don't have nothing to lose. And so I
Mm-hmm.
called. A lady picked up. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for Capleton's manager, and she's like, oh, this is me. So we started talking a little bit, and I'm like, telling her who we are, telling my name. I'm with this band from California, and we're huge fans of Capleton. Like,
Yeah.
I've been a fan for a long time. Like, we don't even know, we have no clue what he requires as far as like financially to do a
Mm-hmm.
song. Like, we don't know any of the, like, it's not, it wasn't even, we didn't even have a manager at the time to reach out. Like, it was just
Wow.
me, you know what I mean?
You guys
So
were
it wasn't
that
even like
grassroots at that point.
we were so, to the point where it's like, it was very unconventional to not have your manager reach out to their manager,
Mm-hmm.
to artists of that, caliber. It was literally just me. And so I'm talking to him. I'm like, so this is who we are. Like, do you think it's possible that, that he is open to doing a feature? So she was like, yeah, anything's possible as long as the vibe is right and as long as the things is right and everything cool and whatnot. And so we kind of talking and whatnot. And she said, well, send me over your stuff and send me over the band name and the track and yada yada yada. So I'm talking to her, and so she was like, she's looking. So now I can tell that she's looking at the stuff. She's like naming out some songs. Like, okay, you got this song and this song. Like, okay, I'm gonna check some of these songs out. And she
Yeah.
said, send me the rhythm that you wanna that you want Capleton on. So I sent it to her. So we're still talking. I'm sending her everything like right there. And
Yeah.
so I hear her talking. So she's talking. She's like, yeah. Hold on. Yo, Capleton. She's talking in the background over there. And she comes back. She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think he says it sounds good so far. So maybe, and I'm like, oh, you're talking to him right now? Like he's right there right now. And so
Yeah.
she was like, yeah. She said, hold on. So she goes and says something else to him. Yeah, comes back. She's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So we can see if he's gonna charge this much and yada yada yada, and if something you guys can handle and we'll do wood. And so we're like, yeah, we'll make it work. And so and just right there, just happened right there. And so over the course of it took a while to actually get the verses. So from that first initial phone call to getting the verse, getting the files kind of emailed back to us it was some months. It was
Oh
it was a
wow.
few months. Yeah, it was a few months. Maybe I want to say maybe like a 4 or 5 month ordeal total.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe 4 months.
True yard man thing.
So yeah, it's true
True.
yard man thing, and so and so I'm telling the guys like, chill, like if they say they're gonna do it, let's give them the chance to do it. Like time was going by,
Yeah.
and so and then so like there was a little bit of issue that happened in between there with some of the communication and whatnot, and so we kind of got through a little issue here and there, and then everything was kind of cool, and then one day she was like, okay, you should be receiving the track soon. And I remember I was just driving and I saw the email come through that the file was there. So I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So I had to pull over. And so I had to pull over and I loaded the track up or started playing it or whatever through my phone. I had my phone connected to the car. So I'm listening to
Yeah.
it in the stereo. Man, and from the first drop from the song, boom, Arise Roots, King of Fire. I was like, oh my God. Like he said our name. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Man, he said our name. So I
Yeah.
stopped it. I rewinded it like 10 times just to hear him say the name. So I'm like, man, he's
Yeah.
really saying our name. Like this is crazy. And so
Yeah.
we had asked and sent the money over for one verse, but he ended up sending two verses. And so after the first verse, I was like, man, like he killed it. And then he came back with the second verse, and I was like, oh my gosh, he gave us two verses. Oh my gosh, man. Oh, I was so man, I was
Yeah.
too excited. And like
Yeah.
in my mind, I went back to being in college and where my room in college, I was my window was right above the front door of the dorm. So as you're
Mhm.
walking up to the dorm, mine was right above the door, and my window was right there. Boom. So
Yeah.
I would set my speaker in front of the window, and I would just blast whatever I wanted to play for anybody that's around. And I used
We're
to
one and
play
the same,
Capleton.
man. I was doing the
Oh
same
my
thing, man.
gosh, dude! I used to play that. So them a feeling them a carry them a that but I really them can't tell them sorry yeah.
Yeah.
Who them a
It's
feeling.
Who
Oh
Them,
my
right?
god!
Yeah, it's called Who
Oh my
Them.
god! Who them?
Yeah.
Yeah, who
That
them?
track is
Man, I used
wicked.
to play that song. Oh my gosh, I used to play that song. Oh my, it's too many times I will play it. And
Yeah.
so in my mind, as I'm listening to it, I'm thinking like, man, this is the same. Like this is the same cable, and this is crazy. Like this is
Yeah.
really like. And so we continue to talk to the manager, and at this point, I kind of developed a pretty cool like relationship with the manager.
Mhm.
Um, Older lady, which I had heard that it's his mom. So I'm not too sure if that's completely
Really?
true or not. I'm not completely
Yeah.
sure if that's true or not, but she's about she's an older lady, real
Mhm.
nice lady though. No nonsense type of lady, but still
Of
nice
course.
still.
Yeah.
And so she was like, listen, she said we're gonna be doing a show in Las Vegas some months down the road. Like if you want to come down to the show. And I was like, you know what? I said, actually, I've been meaning to hit you up because I want to shoot a video. And if it's possible that while you guys are coming to Vegas, that we can fly down there, we can just shoot a video with them there. And
Yeah.
so the idea was I can just shoot half the video here in LA, and I'm gonna shoot the other half of the video in Vegas. But I'm gonna try to find somewhere where it looks like it could still be in LA as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so we did have the half and half thing. And the guy who put the video together made, it looked like it was all shot in the same city or whatever.
I'm finding out right now. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea it wasn't LA. That's crazy.
Yeah. Most
Yeah.
people think it was all LA, but no, we went to the little
Yeah.
art district down in Vegas. We found a street corner that looked like it could be LA. And then we
Yeah.
shot it kind of like from the ground up, so you can't really see like down the street to can tell that it's not LA. So we kind of just
Yeah.
shot it in a way where it just looks, it just looks all together.
Dope.
And I remember going to the hotel, and she was like, she was like, it's time it was the day before the video shoot, but he had a show that night. So I was going there to bring them some stuff. I told him I would bring them some stuff to the room, some food and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm downstairs in the lobby talking to her, and she's like, "You want to go upstairs? You want to go see him?" So I'm thinking like, "Do I want to go? Do I want to go
See,
see him? Are you
you
are you
gotta
serious?
ask.
Like,
Like
man,
you
what?
gotta ask.
Man, what?" And
Yeah.
so we go upstairs, and I was kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie, because Capleton
Oh,
is
feel.
his demeanor is so like strong and so like just
It's the
you know what I mean.
you know what I mean? It's
And
that,
so I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what he's gonna be like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we go up to the room, and he's sitting on the bed. He's watching the game. He loves Arsenal. He loves Premier League.
Okay.
And so he's watching Arsenal play. And so he was into the game already. And so I'm like, okay, I don't want to like talk to him too much or whatever the case is. And so
Mm-hmm.
we just sitting there talking and whatnot. And I'm talking to, it was him and another one of the guys that was traveling with them. So we just talking and whatnot. And then we talked about a separate issue that was kind of funny, and like that separate issue that kind of triggered him into the conversation. Now he's like into the conversation. Now we're talking, and he ended up being a really nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Super
Yeah.
nice, very helpful, very genuine. He was very,
Yeah.
very genuine. And so while we were still there, she was like, "You want to pick out his outfit for the video tomorrow?" I'm like, "What? Like, do I want to pick it out? Like, are you serious?" So
Yeah.
they start bringing out all these crazy looking outfits that he wears, like with the matching turban and the matching shirt and the matching pants and the matching shoes. Like it was all the same silk material. Everything was silk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was crazy, like one half orange and one half blue and like one half, you know what I mean? Just and everything had the shoes to match. And it was, man, crazy stuff that only Capleton can get away with wearing.
Yeah.
And so I picked out his outfit for the video, and I was like, "Yeah, do the red one, because if you do the red, I'm gonna do red too. So we're gonna do that
Yeah.
with the red and white theme." And
Mm-hmm.
so we did it. So the next day I came, and I picked him up in my car. Like it was no manager type stuff. No, like, just me in my car going to pick up Capleton from the hotel. He's riding in my front seat. I'm riding through Vegas with Capleton in my front seat. Like, man, this is
That's
crazy to me.
crazy.
It's
That's
crazy, man.
crazy. Like,
It was crazy to me, man. It was
yeah.
crazy to me. So we drive to the video, and even the video, like it was my buddies Nate with the camera. We didn't have like a whole like camera crew with the lights, and we didn't have none of that
For
stuff.
real.
It was just my boy Nate. I don't even know how old Nate is, but Nate looks like he's about 13. He's a
Yeah.
super baby face. Nate, if you look
Yeah.
at me, I love you, bro, but you do look young, man. So I got my boy, young 13-year-old looking white boy with me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? With just one little camera. That's it. Like no lights, no
For
crew,
fucking
no
cable.
nothing. For Capleton. For Capleton, man. I'm rolling in my car, which
Yeah.
I didn't have no amazing car at the time. It was just real. You know what I mean?
That's raw, man. That's
But he
so
didn't he
raw.
didn't he didn't trip on any of it. You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
like, let's go, let's go do it. We went to the little spot, shot on one corner, went to another spot, shot on another corner. I think went to maybe one more spot. It was all like real close to each other. Walked around the
Mhm.
corner to this one, and we did all the shots right then and there. And it was all love. It was saying, it was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It was an experience I'll never ever forget, man. Never forget.
Bro, you
Never
don't even
forget.
understand for me, as I'm starting to listen to your stuff, and then I think it just shuffled. Like it just went to a song. I'm like, yo, I look at the artist names on there and I'm like, yo, what the these guys did a track with Kid, and then obviously I have to go on YouTube, then I watch the video and everything like that. And I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah, it's
how
crazy,
I
man.
literally haven't stopped wondering. I'm like, how
It's
the hell did they
crazy.
make that
It's
happen? You know
crazy.
what
It's
I mean? Like,
crazy,
I
man.
wouldn't even think he would have
Crazy.
parred with. I'm not saying he wouldn't rock with, but I just didn't even imagine he would come on a feature with an
Nah,
American reggae. Like, you know,
nah.
now
We
so
we
to
were
see that,
nobody.
Huh?
We were nobodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were nobodies. We still ain't even
Yeah.
really big. You know what I mean? So it's like at that point we was
Y'all doing your thing
even
now, but still,
we was
Capleton's
even
a
man. At that point
Capleton's
we
a
was
different breed.
dude. At that point we was nobody. I'm talking about
Yeah.
nobody. But
Yeah.
but they like the song. They like the music. And I think that's what
Hmm.
genuinely like that's what they were genuinely digging was like, okay, I can do this because they were actually genuinely digging the music. And to me, that was the biggest compliment of anything. It wasn't the manager, it wasn't a business deal necessarily. We didn't pay them $20,000, and so it's like no matter what, I'm about to do it. Like it wasn't even that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like the
Yeah.
money wasn't so amazing that none of that. It was just real.
It's the
It was
vibes,
authentic. It was
man.
the vibe, man.
It's
So
the
that right
vibes.
there to me was one of the biggest moves that we've ever been able to make was being able to get him on that track and to be able to shoot the video because the video went crazy for us. Like we did, but I think it's past like 7 million right now, and
Hmm.
I never thought that was I never saw that in the cards to begin with.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I was
That.
excited when we got our first 500 views on YouTube. So
Yeah.
7 million was like, wait a minute, how? Like what?
How's this
How is that
even
even,
happening right
man?
now?
How? Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Nah,
like
that's
no real
crazy.
management, no backing. We did everything. We did everything on our own. We had no like full on team for nothing.
Yeah.
No no label, no management, no nothing. We was
Yeah.
just out there just doing it, booking our own shows.
That's
You
when
know what
the
I
best
mean?
things happen, man. Like honestly, and like that's so inspiring even for me as I'm coming up and trying to do the stuff that I'm doing now. And it's like, especially talk about the vibes and like the authenticity of everything, and like that's how I'm coming with everything here. It's like even I listened to like my first podcast and everything like that. Like shit hasn't blown up, but it's like I know the gems are there. Like I know,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. I have the confidence in what
Right,
I'm doing. I have the confidence in the craft, regardless of the numbers. And like,
right.
must have been the same thing for y'all for you guys to be at the point where, without the name yet, without the money, Capleton sitting
Mm-hmm.
there like,
Yeah,
oh, who's these guys?
yeah,
Yeah, tell them I said,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
and that's what's important because I feel it's hard. Like so much of success nowadays, like built on all the numbers and everything like that. But I think with my generation, heavily, I think it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse with the younger and younger
man.
generations. Like
It is.
we're so number focused and
Yeah.
centered, and it's clout and everything. Focus on your craft. Forget all the
Right.
other bullshit. Like
Right.
honestly, like
Right.
focus on your craft and build. Like
Right.
obviously, at the end of the day, if you're trying to make money, numbers have to play at some point. But
Of course.
you can focus on the craft first and
Focus on the
foremost.
craft
You know what
first.
I mean?
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
like
Of
that's
course.
awesome,
Of
man.
course.
Yeah, that track, Roots
Because
Man
the
Town.
numbers will
Like,
come. The
yeah,
numbers will come.
the
They'll
numbers will come
come.
for
You know what I mean? As
real.
long as you have something real that's to give, something that's authentic and something that's you and something that's a good product, the numbers they'll take care of themselves sooner or later.
For real, and
Yeah.
I appreciate the inspiration all of that because it's like I'm inspiring myself. I'm trying to inspire other people at the same time about that
Mm-hmm.
very thing, and then I'm also
Yeah.
drawing inspiration from other places and whatnot. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, man. And shout out, I want to take a moment like to really shout out all the people who've like reached out to me and everything like that, man. Like all the DMs, like there's been conversations from the podcast that I dropped that have lasted for days with people who we didn't even really know each other like that and whatnot. And we're having deep
Mm.
conversation over the course of days, and like honestly, that's a fuel for me to keep pushing harder than
Mm.
ever. Like
That's what's up.
I love doing this. I love the things that come up from it, like even the experience being in the moment right now, having this
Yeah.
conversation with you, having my last conversation with Ebina, and even the awkwardness of recording to a camera my Kobe video by myself. I'm a conversational dude. It's very strange just looking at a camera by myself and still having the same energy, but like these are the things I enjoy and these are the things that I love and I think has so much value for myself and for the people involved. And I'm trying to bring that and stretch that out to the world. So
Mm.
this is awesome,
Mm.
man. And like to
That's
hear
what's
that your
up.
story follows a lot of that same path, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's what's
amazing.
up. That's what's up.
So we
Definitely.
kind of talked before, like you had mentioned like just going onto the Craigslist and everything like that. But for you at that time, did you know you wanted to do reggae music? 'Cause especially you talking like being a hip hop head, and like you came up in a time when hip hop was really going through it.
Yeah,
You came
yeah,
up in the golden age. Like all me and my
yeah,
boys who like fuck with the real, like we're
yeah,
always like, man, if we could have been like teenager 20s or something during the
yeah,
90s,
yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah,
So for
yeah.
you, like when you thought about yourself with music, did you always kind of envision reggae? Did like, or have you kind of thought about other genres? Like, how did all of that go about for
Yeah.
you?
When I was in college, um, I was a part of like a underground hip hop crew. You know what I mean? Of guys, we all found each other in college, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, a bunch of MCs from all over the place, and
Mm-hmm.
a few producers, and so I was on the producer side, and I didn't really know. I didn't have the knowledge of all the tech stuff that some of my some of the other guys in our crew had. I just had an ear for the music, and so I would
Yeah.
try to go and learn how to use Fruity Loops here, or learn how to use these different little things here and there. But
Yeah.
I didn't have a computer on my own. I didn't have equipment on my own, so it was very like I would only just kind of get in a little bit where I could fit in. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
like when it comes to our whole like crew of musicians and producers or whatever, I was literally the bottom of the totem pole. Like I was the if this was the lowest guy, I was still under him. Like I was way. I think I
Yeah.
only had maybe like 3 beats total that even made it to anything, amongst our crew. So
Yeah.
I was the low man on the boat. But um, so that was my first like taste or intro into doing music and
Mm-hmm.
going to shows with we would go travel to Richmond and to DC and to different places around Virginia or whatever for music, and just being around that was to me was just super dope. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah. Were you guys
and
performing at that time, or you guys were like going to
uh
shows to watch?
no, performing.
Okay.
We
Okay.
would go to shows to watch too, but also doing everything from open mic things to actually like full on little shows, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And even had one of the guys was from California, so a couple of us came out to California to for a couple of shows that was out here in LA.
Yeah.
And so just nothing big, you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
nothing big, just like I said before, just the passion. It was the passion for the music and
Yeah.
passion, just trying to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so that's where my first taste of like music came from, as far
Mm-hmm.
as like being a part of anything substantial.
Yeah.
But but nothing like this. It was nothing like this. Like that whole world and that whole scene was a lot different from the scene. But so that was my first taste in music. And I thought that I would possibly kind of continue going that route only because I never knew and was never anywhere that a live local reggae scene existed. So I just never knew there
Yeah.
was even a possibility to be
Mm-hmm.
in a band and to kind of go that route. I didn't know it was possible. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, once I got out here and found that there was a scene, that's when kind of the door opened up. Like, wait a minute, there's way more possibilities out there than
Yeah.
just the underground rap scene. And even with that scene, like there was so man, everybody and their grandma used to rap. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everybody,
Yep.
everybody had a mixtape. Everybody had
Yep.
a demo. Everybody had a, you know what I mean? Everybody, like
Mm-hmm.
all of my friends that I grew up with that was aside different from the ones that I went to, that I ended up going to college with. Like all my friends back at home had was rapping and had, they're doing little things on, making songs, and kind of every little crew had their own little crew, and that, everybody
Yeah.
rapped. I felt like I knew about a good 13,000 rappers uh, throughout my lifetime.
It
Everybody had
still
the
be
little
that way,
demos.
man.
It's still that way.
It
Oh, it's
still
still
be
that
that
way.
way.
It's still that way.
Yeah.
From cats selling that they CDs out the trunk and on the corner and out the flea markets and out the whatever. Like
I miss
it's
that
still that way.
vibe. Yeah.
But it was a dope vibe though. But
Yeah.
I felt like everybody was doing it, so it was really hard to really, unless you had unless you just had the money and the talent and the luck and the team and the whatever to really push it, like, in that whole 10-year 20-year gap of time, like, it's there has to be millions around the country of rappers and rap crews around there that that have come and gone. And
Yeah.
so I kind of knew like that 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 market and that scene was just overcrowded. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was one of the things that kind of kept me from really wanting to just go full force in that scene. Because it was just like, man, like why? Like I don't even.
Yeah.
I got to go find out all the technical stuff to even, and then start buying all this equipment to start even, fully making the beats. And by the time I do all of that stuff, it was just, I didn't see that that was going to be the route to go. So once I saw
Yeah.
this reggae scene out here, seeing that there was a thing, and seeing that it
Hmm.
wasn't so completely oversaturated with people doing it, I was like, okay, this is, and being that that was my first love anyway, and that's, I feel like I always had that, that natural talent, even coming from my pops. That I'm like,
Hmm.
man, if these cats can do it, man, they've never even seen Jamaica before. Like, I know I can do it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't tell me that I can't get a piece of this, and this is my heritage. Like,
Yeah.
you can't tell me that.
Yeah.
And so that's how I kind of steered to the reggae thing, was just being in LA and realizing that there's something out here.
Hmm.
That's how it happened.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And that's cool that you was part of that whole like hip hop scene too, like at one point and
Yeah, the
whatnot,
whole
man.
backpack scene, and
Yeah.
all of that, man. We used to hit up so many open mics and rap battles and freestyle battles, and man, all
Yeah.
over the place, all over from
Man,
DC down to Atlanta to LA.
yeah. Now the culture and obviously like I'm a young kid. I'm only born in '97. Like I'm young, right?
Mm.
But I just have such a love and everything like for that era, and it's something I had to kind of process after the fact and educate myself and like talking to OGs and everything like that. But man, the culture was like live and well. It definitely took a little
It was
dip early
popping. Yeah,
2000s, but
yeah, yeah,
nah,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
live and popping. I still remember being like a young cat and like it was like shout out 5 and 10. We have a spot called Granny's and like all the Jamaican OGs and whatnot be selling mixtapes out of there, DVDs out of the trunk. You know what I mean? Like I miss that whole culture, man. Hey boy, you know what I mean? You're just walking. You already know I don't got money. Why you trying to talk to me? Like, but I miss that whole vibe, man. The culture
Yeah,
was something. The culture was
yeah.
something.
It really was, man. It was special. It was
Mm-hmm.
special. It was
Mm-hmm.
before, like when we was doing it. It was way before the internet was booming. You know what I mean? And so it was really like a hand to hand grind. And like, if you only know about these other cats over here, if you actually go to these other cities and these other places, like, you know what I mean? Now anybody can put something on SoundCloud or on YouTube, whatever, and be seen all over the place. But back then,
Yeah.
everybody was just hustling their local scenes, trying to make it happen. And so, with so many people hustling, trying to make it happen in their own local scenes, like, to kind of stick up out of that,
And
and that it
breakthrough.
was, and breakthrough was extremely hard back then, way harder than it is now,
Yeah.
way harder, way
Yeah.
harder, way harder.
And that's why you gotta give a lot of props, to like the older heads who really, a lot of the forefathers, everything, because the hustle that these guys were on was not a joke. You know what I mean? Like these guys weren't
Yeah,
just jumping in, I'm a rapping this or whatever. And like I feel, I don't want to be that one bashing the new age or anything like that. I want to be the one bashing the new age or anything like that. But there's a certain appreciation of everything that I feel like my generation doesn't really have because now shit's so fucking easy. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. It's way different,
it's way different, right? And
way
now it's so
different.
easy. People don't really care. Some people are dropping tracks. They don't really care about the track that they're dropping. They don't care. You know what I mean? It's just everything's just kind of whatever now. And like
Yeah,
even listening to music, not to bash, I'd definitely be turning up to all the new stuff and everything like that too. But I mean? I don't know. Everything had more substance to it back then. Like even if they weren't necessarily speaking on some serious stuff, it's like even the energy that they were coming with and like the
energy was
realness
way
and the
different.
rawness.
That energy. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that energy piece, like, that's I think that's one thing that is a huge factor that separates the two. Because before, you had to really, like, you really had to battle. You really
Yeah,
had to, you had to battle to be able to get anywhere and to do anything and to make any kind of name for yourself. You couldn't
yeah,
just throw whatever on a SoundCloud and just let it kind of just go out there and do its thing, where you don't have to like really even show yourself or show that you. No, I'm talking about, you have to
yeah,
go and, like, now you have to battle this guy not even battling him. You have to battle him and his crew like face to face, and y'all like if
Face
you
to
face
face.
to face, and
Yeah.
if you whack, then everybody's gonna let you know that you whack like that.
Back. Yeah.
That whole piece and that battle mentality and that battle aspect of the game is so different. And
Mm-hmm.
without having that now, I feel like it's created. Um, it's just and just like with any other type of music, everything evolves. So I get that. I get the evolution of music, and I get
Yeah.
that. But just when it comes to like, bro, if you don't have the talent to back up, if you don't have the talent and the delivery and the poise and the character and all these different aspects together to really
Yeah.
like to really go at somebody and like be a lion and rip somebody's head off with this,
Yeah.
if without having that nowadays, it's just kind of like
It's,
mm,
yeah,
eh.
exactly. Exactly. And there's so much people who speak on it too. Like, there's so many different layers. Because one thing I feel like now it's like, what's kind of unfortunate to see, because hip hop started, and I'm not going to go on a huge thing. I'm sure I'll make another video about all of this stuff, but like, hip hop
Yeah,
started as like a form of expression, like for the people,
yeah,
by our people. You know what I mean? Like, now it's kind of
yeah,
like, it's like a business venture. You know what I mean? People come up,
yeah,
yeah, I can make
yeah,
some money rapping. You know what I mean? Whereas before, people kind of stumbled into money through rap. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The way you kind of
Mm-hmm.
stumbled into your situation with Arise Roots, it's like,
Right.
I got a love for this, like it's important, this, that, the other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they've taken things forward and they stumble into all the opportunity and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas nowadays people are saying, okay, yeah, I have opportunity, I can make some money, I can do this, I can do that. It once
Mm-hmm.
again speaks to the removal of the passion and the seriousness and everything
Mm-hmm.
like that. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I miss like KRS
Mm-hmm.
One talks in one track, he's talking about like when Whack MCs used to get thrown off stage, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
man, like it used to be like
Yeah.
if you wanted to rap, like it was a bold move to really put your foot out there and be like,
Oh,
yeah, this is me.
it was
Yeah,
very bold. I remember being in so many situations where it's like, ooh, it's about to go down right now.
yeah,
Like it's like I can't believe this dude is really getting like I've seen people literally almost getting thrown off stage. I've seen people where they come with their people and they videotape or something and they be so whack that now I was saying somebody like take the video camera, like smash the video camera because
yeah,
their crew and they whatever wasn't coming with, you know what I mean? So it's like
yeah,
you had to have such it's just so different. It's just so
yeah,
different. And I don't want to
yeah.
knock anybody, but it's just different. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot there's a lot that's missing.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot that's missing.
Mashallah,
You
there's
know.
still a few guys that are still carrying the torch, and like I said, we definitely can appreciate a lot of things evolve and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I definitely do miss the hunger and the
Mm-hmm.
really.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really comes down to the hunger of it all. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like it's a very in a lot of ways it could be a nonchalant genre, and of course there's people that are starting to bring it back and keep the spirit alive and
Right.
whatnot. But
No,
man,
and it's easy to be nonchalant when you can just put it on the computer and just let the computer do the work. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's if you don't have to go out there and put feet to pavement and really make the work happen for yourself, then the grind becomes different. It's a different kind of grind. You know,
grind,
the computer's
yeah,
doing a lot of work that your feet used to be able to do. And so
yeah,
when that doesn't take place anymore, then it's just it I don't want to say it necessarily waters it down per se because there's still talent out there. There's still the talent.
yeah,
Like
for
people are still
sure.
talented. It just makes the whole scene a different kind of scene.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some goods that come along with what's happening now. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
it's just different. You know, like if you're used to kind of growing up or seeing one thing and then you see something different now, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, it's just different. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just different. It's just different. I
Mm-hmm.
sent you a message. Did you see it? Did you happen to see it just
Yeah,
now?
yeah, I got it.
Okay, all
I
right,
got
cool,
it.
cool,
Yeah,
cool, 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 cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but that was that was
uh,
my I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was
yeah,
I did at one point think that the hip hop route was gonna be the route where I was able to kind of enter music through until I realized that it wasn't the one for
yeah,
me. Yeah, it
yeah,
wasn't one for me.
yeah. You made it all work out, though. You made it all work out.
I'm trying, still
Um,
trying.
hey man, you got my attention, man. You got my attention, and the people I've shown your music to, everybody's been rocking with it so far. So,
That's what I
and
appreciate
we're
that.
one of hundreds of thousands. So, you're
I
definitely making an
appreciate that.
impact for sure.
Appreciate that. Definitely.
Kind of wrapping things up. I kind of want to touch on I don't know if I want to do albums. All right, let's do albums. Let's do
All
albums.
right.
I want to know your favorite. It doesn't have to be necessarily your top of all time, but
Mm-hmm.
just whatever comes to mind, like your
Mm-hmm.
top 5 albums. Let's go outside of reggae music, and then
Okay.
top 3 artists within reggae, old
Okay.
and then new.
Okay. Okay. Albums for me, like Water for Chocolate by Common was one of my all-time favorite
Yep.
albums. I just loved it. And I think one of the things for me that was so special about that album is that it dropped when I was in college and my roommate was from Chicago. And so
Mm.
I was already kind of digging Common before, but he would go to sleep with the album playing. And so some of those bass lines to me that are on the album are just still like I sing those bass lines all the time. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those albums that personally to me is just it just sticks out. It'll forever stick out.
Yeah.
So like Water for Chocolate, that's definitely one. To me, the AT Aliens by Outkast
Yep.
is one of my all time favorite albums.
Yeah.
I grew up in Atlanta, and so for me
Okay.
that was one of the albums that just when it first came out, it was just like, man, what is this? This was it blew me away. So that's one. Reasonable Doubt is one of my favorite albums.
Yep. That on the
Um,
wall too.
yeah, like that is there's just it's you can't beat it. You can't beat it. Um, you said outside of reggae, so I'm gonna try to go a little bit outside of even hip hop right now.
Mm.
So some other albums that I absolutely love. One is Fleetwood Mac. I love
Okay.
the Rumors album by Fleetwood Mac. I think that's
Is that the one that has the song Dreams on there?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah,
so.
yeah. I
I believe
just
so.
got hip to Fleetwood Mac like
I love Fleetwood Mac,
2020,
man.
2019 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I went to go see them in 2000, either 18 or 19, and man, blew me away.
Energy
They're
is still powerful as
oh
ever,
dude,
eh?
they're amazing. They're absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. And then for me also, I would have to go with I have to go with Sade, the album that
Uh
had No Ordinary Love,
yeah,
Kiss of Life.
that album
Yeah,
goes
that album
crazy.
is that album is still so amazing to me.
Yeah, Sade's
Amazing.
a different
Yeah.
breed, man. That album,
Yeah,
that's
she
really the
is.
only album I've really gone through and explored like that. But
Mm-hmm.
there's no skipping for me.
There's
I
no
can sing that
skipping.
song top to
It's
bottom,
so
don't
oh man,
skip.
it's so good. It's
Yeah,
so good, man. It's so
yeah.
good. When it comes to reggae, there's an album by Midnight called Unpolished. That Unpolished album by Midnight is to me one of the best reggae albums ever created. It's
Hmm.
absolutely just it's deep roots and it's just it's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to go do my
Um,
research on that one.
yeah, Midnight Unpolished. That album
Hmm.
is ridiculous. Another one is the Gladiators. Sweet Sotil album is the Gladiators to me are just they're amazing. To me, they're
Uh,
the quintessential old school 3-part harmony reggae band. To me, is the
yeah.
Gladiators. I think they're the songwriting, the melodies, just is just amazing, absolutely
Hmm.
amazing. Um, and I have to go with um, I can't split or go with one of these guys over the other, so I'm gonna have to put them together. So
Yeah.
I'll say Sizzler's album, Black Mother and Child album,
Yeah.
and then Buju Banton, Till Shiloh album. Those
Yeah.
round out
Yeah.
my
Buju.
top reggae albums. Yeah,
Yeah.
Buju.
Yeah.
We went to go. You know, we were in Jamaica. We were in Jamaica 2 years ago when he did his first show in
Did
Jamaica
Did he
from
get
being
to
locked
go?
up at the yeah, it was a show in at the Sumfest festival in Montego Bay, and
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it was absolutely. First of all, we thought we were going to be getting there late because we got there around like 9. Little did I know that Jamaicans don't party like that. So the
Nah.
concert started at like the concert might have started at like maybe 6 or 7. And Buju didn't touch the stage until I think maybe 5 in the morning. He was performing as the sun is coming up. Like I'm thinking like, man, Jamaicans like, oh my gosh, the party didn't really even start until around maybe like 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And dude, all night,
Yeah.
and Buju was just he was a killer,
Yeah.
absolute killer.
Yeah, I had family who went
Absolute,
out to that concert and everybody was just like, man, like
yeah,
that concert was people aren't forgetting that. People aren't
yeah,
forgetting that. No matter how
uh-uh.
many years go by, like that was an experience I feel like to a level I was there just hearing
Mm-hmm.
stories and then even watching like the YouTube videos and you could see the energy on the video. It was something different. It was something
Yeah,
different.
it was unbelievable, unbelievable,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then
man.
and
Yeah,
then for your three new school reggae.
new school reggae. The last Protege album was to me was super dope. That last one was killer. So I'll say his. Um, I really was digging. Um, hmm, Archangel. There's a Guyanese artist named Archangel that was his this last album that he just came out with was dope. But the one he had before that one to me was just absolutely just murderous,
Yeah.
murderous. So that the second to last for my last one, I would have to say um Mortimer.
I
The
haven't heard of that. I
Mortimer. No,
haven't heard of him either.
I'll split that half and half. Mortimer and Samurai Eye, that Black Gold album by Samurai Eye. Those two were absolute fire.
Yeah.
Mortimer, if you type him in, his big song, you might recognize it. Because his big song is pretty big. But Mortimer and Samurai Eye, that's that combo. I'll put two in one right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's dope,
Yeah,
man. You gave me some
definitely.
albums, some research to go and dig into. Definitely new to
Oh yeah,
the
you got to.
American
You
reggae
got
scene, but
to.
I'm rocking with what's going on, man. I'm rocking with what's going on, and there is
Yeah, it's
some
cool.
there is some that blend a little. I feel too far with rock for my taste and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one group that I'm seeing. These guys are huge. Like I was just googling some stuff. Revolution, I think it is. I've only
Oh yeah,
heard
they're huge.
they're huge, huge. I've only heard a couple of songs, but one song
Huge.
I'm really rocking with. One song, it was good, but it didn't. I don't know. There's something more when you have more of the core of reggae to the music that it touches my soul more and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like I definitely have a lot
It,
more
hit, it hits
feelings
different.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. 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 They're huge.
Mhm.
Huge. It's crazy how big they are. But
Yeah.
it's good. Like I'm glad that there are bands in this scene that are really that are that big, because it just makes it, it keeps the door open for ones like us. So I
Exactly.
appreciate their growth and their size. Yeah, definitely,
Yeah. Yeah. The pie can
definitely.
grow for everybody.
We
Everybody
we,
gets a
we
slice, right?
for everybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For everybody. And even
Yeah.
even even with them, like we were able to feature their lead singer on our last album, and
Oh,
so
word.
yeah, and so it's cool, like even being connected to like a revolution, you know what I mean, or connected to these different ones. Like it's cool, man. It's
Yeah.
I feel very blessed to be able to even to be able to link with some of these guys, you know.
Mhm.
So I'll take it.
Mhm.
I'll take it.
That's been awesome.
Definitely.
I want to thank you so much for your time. Honestly, this was a dope conversation, and like once again, even like the way that it happened and everything like that, I'm eternally grateful for it. And it's I love these moments. I'm always saying like you can't make this stuff up because there's just
Yeah, that's
so
right. You
many
can't.
moments and opportunities in life. Like this, if I told you the story, if you didn't know, like you wouldn't believe me. But you know what I mean. That's how the world works, man. That's how the world works. For
That's
real.
true. That's so
Yeah.
true, man. It's so true. I'm great. I'm grateful as well. I I value any and every opportunity that I can to link with people, with like-minded people, and with people who are doing something and trying to create something. So is
Hmm.
the pleasure is definitely all mine.
Much love, my
Definitely,
brother. Much love. Thank you
definitely.
guys for all tuning in to another episode of Strong Roots, Long Branches with the Durag Scholar. For everybody checking this out on YouTube, wherever the case may be, I'll attach links to Kareem's band's music, Arise Roots, and also to some Instagrams and everything like that. So I'd like to thank all you guys for tuning in. And so much more opportunity out there in the world than we even ever have a scope of or really truly believe. You can't you can't you can never fathom. No matter what your belief system is, no matter how much opportunity you believe is out there for you, there's actually more. Especially